Hello, Gwe, bonjour. My name is WhiteDove. I'm a Wabanaki woman, and today I'd like to share another Wabanaki story with you. And this one's called The Great Tea Gathering. It's about a Wabanaki woman, elder, named Wind Song, who lives in the Northern Maine woods, the state of Maine. And Wind Song lives alone in a birch bark wigwam at the edge of a forest and a meadow. Despite colonization some 550 years ago, Wind Song strives to live by the old ways, the traditional ways that the Wabanaki nations lived by for thousands of years before the arrival of those from away, the newcomers. Well, each summer, all the animals of the meadow and forest watch Wind Song harvest the bounty of brilliant red clover, yellow dandelions, wild red raspberries, and blueberries from the meadow. Grandmother Moon tells Wind Song exactly the right time for harvesting, so that these plants are imbued with powerful healing qualities and energies. The animals also witness Wind Song performing ceremony during the harvest of these healing plants. She is seen dancing among the plants. She is heard singing and speaking to the plants, to the Mother Earth, to Father Sun, and to Grandmother Moon. Wind Song even offers tobacco wherever she harvests the healing plants. In a sacred way, she sprinkles a bit of tobacco in thanks to the plants and to the Mother Earth. In return, the plants of the meadow share their sacred songs with Wind Song. And each plant sings its own unique song. Wind Song also captures songs from the wind. That is how she came to be named Wind Song. Following the harvest, Wind Song carefully hangs all of her harvested plants to dry. The red clover, the yellow dandelions, the red raspberries, and the blueberries. Then by wintertime, the plants are ready to make medicinal tea infusions, which help keep Wind Song healthy and strong throughout the winter season, when her gardens are sleeping. These herbal infusions of Wind Song are very powerful and aromatic because of the sacred way that the plants were harvested. Through ceremony and ritual, Wind Song creates a very strong connection or bond with these meadow plants, so that there is a reciprocal relationship between the plants and Wind Song. Therefore, Wind Song sees and experiences the magic of how everything is connected in a sacred way. Many moons ago, one blustery winter afternoon, Wind Song was brewing a pot of her medicinal herbal tea. And while she was preparing that, she heard knock, knock, knock on the door. And she thought, my goodness, who could be out there in this blustery winter weather? So she opened the door, and she could not believe what she saw. Moose was out there at the door with his antlers covered with snow. And Moose said to Wind Song, Wind Song, I was out in the meadow and I could smell this wonderful aromatic tea. And my nose led me to your wigwam. And Wind Song said, Moose, please come in. Sit at the table and I'll get you a teacup and you can join me for a cup of my hot herbal tea. And this will help warm you up. So Wind Song went to the shelf and pulled off another teacup and put it in front of Moose. And as soon as she did that, knock, 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 she heard at the door again. And so she went to the door, and this time she saw Bear. Bear's hair was just glazed with ice. And Bear was shivering. So right away, Windsong invited Bear in and said to Bear, "Please, Bear, come in and share a cup of tea alongside Moose." And Bear said to her, "Windsong, I was hibernating in my cave, and all of a sudden the winds brought this delicious smell, and I couldn't help but leave my cave to follow that aromatic smell, and it led me to your wigwam." And so Bear sat down next to Moose, and Windsong went and reached for another teacup for Bear. And as soon as she placed the teacup in front of Bear, knock, 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 she heard another knock at the door, and flung open the door, and she looked down this time and saw a rabbit. And Rabbit's whiskers were frozen. And Rabbit said, "I was looking for a place to burrow, and as I was hopping across the meadow, this most delicious smell came to my nose, and I followed this smell on the wind to your wigwam." Windsong said to Rabbit, "Rabbit, won't you come in and sit by Moose and Bear and have a hot cup of my delicious aromatic tea? And this will help warm you up, and it will help you defrost." So there was Windsong getting ready to pour the tea, when all of a sudden, knock, 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 again. Windsong could not imagine who could be at the door now. She quickly went to the door, flung it open. She saw a bird and 5 more animals there, huddling together, trying to keep warm. She saw blue jay, fox, groundhog, deer, chipmunk, and raccoon. And Blue Jay and the animals explained to Windsong that they were out in the meadow when all of a sudden the winds brought this delicious aroma to their noses. And they followed that aroma to her wigwam door. And Windsong said, "Please, come in out of the cold." So Windsong looked at her humble pot of tea on the table, and she looked at all of her guests, and she looked disappointed. She looked at the animals and the bird and said, "You know, I would love to give all of you a nice hot cup of my herbal tea, but I don't think there's enough to go around." So the animals started whispering among themselves, and all of a sudden they all left. After they closed the door, Windsong started pouring her tea, and as soon as she started sipping her tea, about 10 minutes later, knock, 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 Windsong heard 9 knocks at the door. And she got up, went to the door, opened the door, and she could not believe what she saw. She saw all 8 animals and Blue Jay return. And she said, "Please come in out of the cold." And they all congregated around her humble table and her teapot. And Moose brought a huge bucket of water for her to make lots of tea. Bear brought lots of honey to sweeten the tea. And all the other animals brought some herbs that they had stored in their burrows and in their winter dens. And so with all of these ingredients, Windsong was able to make a huge quantity of hot, healing herbal tea to warm up all the animals and Blue Jay who were sharing her table. Moose, bear, rabbit, fox, blue jay, groundhog, deer, chipmunk, raccoon, and Windsong. They formed a healing circle with their paws, hands, or wings all connected. And then Windsong chanted one of her healing prayers of thanksgiving, which the animals have heard before. Oh,